Name some words that you would attach to this. Is it maddening? Is it infuriating? Is it unbelievable? Just what words come to your mind when you think about this?
It's devastating and very unbelievable. Chris was like my big brother. My mom had raised Chris, and I know as the story continues, people will bring out Chris's past, and I just feel like this has nothing to do with his past at all. He got out of prison, yes, 2 weeks ago, before he started staying with his daughter Gina. He did come out, and he was trying to change his life and do better. And I just feel like Franco, the system has failed Monica. Franco should have never been let out. He would have never been able to kill my cousin the way he did. My cousin was left out bleeding on a parking lot floor. Like, that's pretty devastating. I don't think I've ever cried this much. I've been crying since it happened. I've never cried this much in my life. My eyes Saturday morning when I woke up were shut closed from crying, because I just know this impacts my mom a lot too, because she raised Christopher, and I just hope nothing happens to her, because she's just taking this very hard. I try to get her to come out here and say Chris's story, and try to get justice for him, so Franco won't try to claim self-defense like he did with her son. I just feel like, the system failed her, and if they wouldn't have failed her, Franco wouldn't have been out here to
Chris
kill.
would have been alive still.
Chris would have still been alive. He wouldn't have been able to kill Chris. Like, nobody was there. Like, he was just, I don't know.
You said you don't want those narratives to be spun about Chris, about his character. Can you give me a little bit more about who he was as a person in his life, what he loved to do, and just what he really enjoyed?
Out of our family, he was the one to come around, and he would light up the room for all of us, and he was a funny guy. He always was never serious. Like, he was the type to like de-escalate any kind of situation. That's what gets me the most out of all of this, because how they said he reached in the vehicle and how that guy might try to spin it on him, that's what hurts me the most, is because I know my cousin, he was reaching in the vehicle because he saw the weapon, and he tried to de-escalate the situation. Like my cousin Gina told us, like, he tried to de-escalate the situation, but that was the person he was. He wasn't a fighter like that. Like, he was a funny guy, He would come around, laugh with us, make jokes, and I don't know, I just feel like it's really devastating that we even have to
Go through
any of this, and it's so unexpected.
So I'll ask, how did you two end up coming together? I know that there is the family tie, and it was the same person, but how did you guys end up connecting?
I had somebody, my son Roger was loved by many, high school, middle school. He was a class clown. He was an amazing kid. He had just turned 17, little boy. He did his things and everything, but it was Saturday. Somebody sent me a screenshot of, I believe, her aunt Linda posting a picture of Franco. They're like, "Oh my God, Monica, is this the same Franco that killed your son?" I'm like, I saw that. I sent that picture to my daughter. My daughter was involved with Franco. It's just like deja vu again. 12 years later, the same story. And I reached out on Facebook. I posted that screenshot of her aunt. And I'm like, I need to find this lady. I have information. I have a lot of information about Franco. Somehow I'm connected to that family somehow. And anger. And then I also cried because I'm like, he killed again. Why did he kill again? Why? Because the system failed me and failed them. If he would have never been out, they would have just believed me. What more can they not see that he shot somebody? We're running away. If it's self-defense, shoot him on the leg, on the arm, shoot in the air. You don't keep on shooting somebody 4 times in the back and get away with murder. And if he would have never been out right now, Chris would have never been killed, murdered. All those criminal past history he's done, 2019, kidnapping his mom, his child. He has a criminal background of so much stuff. I'm pretty sure if y'all put his name, his date of birth, he has a bad record. And for the system to let him out, all these times that he's been in trouble, it's like he killed because he was free.
He did have multiple charges.
Yes.
I know that some of his cases were even dismissed.
And like he has some kind of luck.
Yeah.
Why? Oh no, let him go. He should have been locked up a long time ago.
I feel like too, who answers for where he was after he killed my cousin? Who answers for that? Because like he took off, right, and he was picked up at his mom's house, and it's like his mom was harboring a fugitive. Like what? How? Why isn't she in trouble for that? Why isn't anybody who's answering for that? Like, is all of this just being swept under the rug? Like, what's going on? And like in her case, like she's saying, like if it was anybody else's son, they would be right here too, like wanting justice and saying the same thing. Like Franco should have never got away with that. Like he shot her son 4 times in the back. Like that's murder. This is just all of this is all wrong.
What was in your heart when you first heard that he had killed somebody in the past? What was your initial reaction when you found out that little fact?
When I found out he killed somebody in the past, my first reaction was if he would have never got out of jail, he would have never been able to kill again. And unfortunately, I've heard his parents have money and his parents will pay to get him out, and even now he has a bond. And it's like, who's in charge of all of this? Like who says he just killed somebody? He killed her son,
The DA.
like 11 years ago. Who answers for all of this?
I have something to say too. That recent story of the wife missing and they charge her husband with murder. Even with no evidence or no murder weapon, they still haven't even found her body. So how is that they can charge him for murder, but they can't charge someone that they know actually fired the weapon? Why? Why that? He's in jail right now for all these crimes, but my son's murderer was out in 3 months. And then that's because I saw him fire. He killed my son. And then this other story right now, what makes a difference?
Just killing.
What do you think makes a difference?
It's a lot of things that.
Is it race? Is it money?
Oh, it's money.
Money.
Of course, it's money.
And my kid probably looked like, he had.
It's judgment, judgment of character,
Yeah.
on just the same way they'll do to Chris. They'll just sweep it under the rug and say like what they got to say about him.
Oh,
They're just judging him.
Judging how they look, the kids
Yeah.
look, how the person looks.
And I feel like, okay, people do come from certain backgrounds, but at the same time, like that doesn't make it right for them to be murdered either. For anybody to be murdered like that and just left on the side in a parking lot, bleeding out.
So what do you guys want to see from the law enforcement moving forward? Because, nobody wants something like this to happen again. The third time
Of course.
would be too many times.
Of course.
So what do you guys want to see moving forward?
I feel like Franco has a lot to answer for. Not only for my cousin's murder, he has to answer for her son's murder as well. And moving forward, I feel like that he should serve life in prison. He should serve life in prison for that. without the possibility of any kind of parole. He does not need to be out here killing other people's family members.
I'm getting ready to send an email to the district attorney's office. What do you think I should ask him?
I feel Franco will try to do the same self-defense that he did with my son, and we are praying the DA locks him away forever, as he has a long criminal record. Now with 2 murder charges, 2 souls gone. We need justice for Chris and Roger, and I hope the DA sees this and they reopen the case. If not for Roger, but for Chris, for them to see all this that's going on, and I want justice for Chris. If I can't get it for Roger, it will make me happy that I'm going to be here with Chris's family. That's Chris's son over there. So I feel angry. I don't even think I feel hurt no more. I'm just so angry. I'm angry at the DA, at SAPD, at everything. Like, give Chris justice. If I can't get justice for my son Roger, at least say his name out there. Say, you know what? Well, let's give Roger justice too. Franco will be charged for the murder of Roger, also as the same thing as Chris. But if not, just Chris. But I'll be satisfied with just Chris, and that will give me that peace that I needed for 12 freaking years that I've been like this.
Yeah, I think we just need closure. We need closure all the way around. Like I said, I feel like my mom the most out of everybody on our side. She needs a lot of closure, and the only way she'll get her closure if she sees this guy gets charged for this murder, and him trying to say he's gonna claim self-defense on another murder, I think is ridiculous. And it is ridiculous for anybody to keep sweeping something like this under the rug. It doesn't matter how much money people have. It shouldn't be that way. People shouldn't be out here just getting murdered and getting away with it because their family members have money.
It's ridiculous, but it worked once,
Yeah,
right?
sure did.
This has affected you? I mean, right now I'm still kind of processing everything. I've felt more anger towards the situation than anything else. I felt like this is something that's been coming for a while, as Franco has been a nightmare for my family and my sister for a long time. I put in my own efforts to get my sister away from him, and the dude's a violent man. He shouldn't have been out here. After I saw his record online, I didn't want her to have anything to do with him. And it's sad that my dad had to basically take the bullet for this situation to come to light, for this man to be in jail, because he should have already been there. And it hurts a lot because my son's not going to get to know his granddad. My little brother's not going to get to know his dad. My stepbrothers, my dad was a father figure for all 3 of them too, and they're left all of them, and it sucks. I mean, I feel a lot of anger towards the situation, and I haven't been able to mourn properly. It's just kind of been balled up and just dealing with it day by day, hoping that something comes from the situation.
So you said that you saw this coming, basically.
Yeah, if it wasn't my dad, it would have been me in the past, like Franco's threatened my life to keep my sister from, leaving him. And I guess I could see I saw this coming, I was worried for my dad's safety being there, living with him. Because Franco's a weird dude, like his past shows for the type of man that he is, it's just a horrible situation, I guess.
And what kind of ways did he threaten you?
He'd try to get into physical altercations with me all the time while I was living with my sister. After he bought the gun was pulled out almost every day, threatening my sister, telling her like, I got this, you know how I am, When it was with me, just flashing it at me, telling me like not to mess with him. I don't know. It was a messy situation. I had to distance myself from it, and unfortunately, my dad was the one who took the bullet, for my sister.
talk to us about your dad. What kind of person? How was he like?
My dad he was a quiet guy. He was a lot like me, you know. He was an artist. I recently learned that he was writing a book. He loved his family. He loved me and my sister and my son. He loved his youngest son a lot. You know, family always came first. He wasn't a violent person at all. He was actually very reserved. Usually the type to avoid violence. I mean, all I can say is that my dad was true to himself, you know. And he was my hero, you know. He was someone that was maybe not an ideal role model for others, but he was a role model for me. You know, I learned a lot from that man.
Do you have a favorite memory with him that you maybe want to share from growing up?
I mean, unfortunately, and this is another way I feel like the system failed me, is because my dad spent most of his life in prison for non-violent drug charges, and his life was taken by someone who well deserved to be in prison, you know? And my dad had just got out. My dad was ready to turn his life around, and we were ready to create memories. I was looking forward to many more years with my father, and it's gone, and I'm still processing it, you know?
When was the last time you saw him?
Just on Halloween, the last conversation we had, he told me he loved me and he was proud of me. And that's all I have left, you know?